If you've been sitting on the fence about getting one of these Russian sharpeners, I think this video might just tip the scale. So I've been thinking for weeks now, there's gotta be a way to use this ingenious system to sharpen my axes. Sharpening axes and hatchets is always difficult, it's always a bit of guesswork, and they over time tend to get worse and worse or a little bit further off because, well, we all have varying levels of skill and abilities, and even my own work when I check it, it just is not always satisfactory. But this setup changes all of that. So here's what I came up with. So this, of course, is the carpenter's bench that I built. Paul Sellers carpenter's bench with the tool well in the middle, and it works perfectly for the sharpening system. You can kind of see what I've got going on here. So I've got a Grand Force Brooks small forest axe, and what has worked really good is I've just built a small wedge. Just a little small wedge. The thickness of the wedge will be determinant upon your axe, because once you sit it on here, you want it just to hang off the edge like this, right here. You want it to sit flat. See how it's sitting flat right there? You can see where I'm going. And of course, we are going to show you how to determine the angle, and you are going to be amazed at the results. This is a trick that will work for all of you. It doesn't matter if you're using this sharpening system or you're doing it freehand. But take your Sharpie, and what we're going to do is we're going to color that. We're going to cover that ink, that whole leading edge. What is more fun on a cold, rainy weekend than sharpening tools? I just look at the way it cuts. It's just so good. This is our core stone. We're going to start with our core stone because we're going to reprofile. So we're going to determine the angle. Now, this is simply done. I'm not saying that this is something that needs to be done every time you sharpen your axe. What I'm talking about as this is perfect for when you first get one. Let's say you've bought one at a flea market or a garage sale or something that wasn't sharpened properly, or even many of the mid-priced factory axes are terribly ground. You can get it sorted out. You don't need any special equipment. Well, this is actually kind of special equipment. You don't need grinding equipment or anything like that to establish this profile, and then you can sharpen quickly by hand. Very, very simple. So I'm going to just kind of eyeball this. I'm just looking at the angle by raising the tool up and down. It's got and tighten up the brass nut. Now we're going to find out if there's any more micro adjustment that we need to do. Now here's where the Sharpie mark on there comes in real handy. We don't have to guess. We don't have to worry what our angle is. So I'm going to take my stone here, and I'm just going to grind that off there and see where is there anything left behind. But I can see that I had the angle set just about perfect right there. In one pass, it took off all of the Sharpie. So we all know that consistency is the most important thing when sharpening. So because we're going to have to flip our axe over to sharpen both sides, what I've been doing is just taking a pencil on my carpenter's bench there and just drawing that. Now, when I flip my axe over, I can line up the marks on the pole and be exactly where I was, or close enough for us. That way I'm getting a good, even sharpening and consistent angles. Now, just for fun, let's see how the other side lines up. We're lined up on our pencil marks. So we'll take our stone right here. The axe has got plenty of weight. I just simply have a little pressure on it with my hand. The tool itself, because it's Soviet built, of course we know it's got enough weight to it. Right there, just a quick pass. Look at that. Look how good of it. Now see, right there is a perfect example. We've got a little bit more black on the top than the leading edge, but because I checked it on the other side, and knowing myself that this is my weak sharpening side, I'm always inconsistent on the opposite side there, that it is the tool that I have been grinding incorrectly. But what this gauge is telling me now is going to give me exact precision. Right there. But just a couple of strokes, you can see right there that all of my mistakes, all of the improper filing and sharpening that I've done is quickly remedied. So to further prove the point, I'm not going to sharpen my Grand Force Brooks. I'm going to show you how well this can work on a hateful Fiskars. Oh goodness, I don't know how I feel about having this on my bench. The Fiskars here, you can see, is in bad shape. Look at the edge. Man, that has been abused. This is probably very typical to what if you've bought a used axe, the condition that you're going to find it in. And this is difficult to bring back. I mean, especially if you're doing it by hand. Very challenging. How do you know the right angles? Yeah, there's gauges and things out there. But anyone who says that it's not challenging and difficult, even for the most experienced. So just a quick setup. We'll line up in line with the pivot right there. Hang over the bench a little bit. I'm going to just draw my lines there. Okay. So the last thing I need to set up is the stroke, how deep it is. So I'm going to loosen this up. And this way I don't run off the stone and run the risk of getting fingers. So I'll set the stops at both sides. Here on both ends. Just one less thing to worry about. You know, working with these sharp edges, accidents happen. You want to mitigate that as much as possible. So let's take a look and see how the fiskers. Oh, that's so bad. That's a bad edge on that. We can see that our angle, we're just a little bit too shallow. This axe is taller than the other one, so I'll just simply lift this up. So let's go to work on this. So I have been using a solution of simple green in a spray bottle just to keep the stone wetted down. It seems to work good. And I'm going to go in a circular motion. Now again, this is going to be a slower process because we have an axe blade here that is that has been very abused. Lots of chips, not ground properly. But I think this will demonstrate how wonderful this sharpener works on sharpening axes. I'm going to continue to sharpen on that side till about half. I've gotten rid of about half of the damage on the blade. And then I'm going to flip it over here and line it up there. It's not critical. Now I can come over here and I'll hit the other side. So it's been about 10 minutes with the coarse stone, and we'll take a look at it. Man, oh man, look at that. Look at that. I could feel the wire on there. We're not done yet. Look at that. Look at the profile, how that has brought that all back, the consistency. Right there, there's still one teeny tiny chip. That was a really deep one, but all of the other ones are gone. Could I spend another 5 minutes and get that out of there? Yeah, absolutely I could. But this isn't my nice axe. This isn't something that I'm really over concerned about. So of course we have the 6 stones. I'm not going to go through all 6. We'll skip. We'll go from 1 to 3, the medium stone, and then we'll go the superfine stone. Look at that. Look at that. That's just, well, the water works good. Once we have that grind established, this part of it is actually doesn't take very much. We're just looking for that polish. We're just looking for that polish right there. All right, let's take a look and see how that is. Oh, look, it's nice. That is nice. Let's go one more. Let's go super fine. I have no question that all you guys with these will come up with all sorts of clever ways to use them to sharpen tools and implements. Now this is poor steel. This is very poor steel, very soft. Loads up the stone. It's very noticeable, the difference between sharpening this and the Swedish Sandvik steel. I mean, good grief. This is not nice at all. I can't believe it. I knew it was bad. I didn't realize it was this bad. So just finishing up with the superfine 1000 grit. Well, a lot of forum guys like, oh, that's not superfine. It's superfine to me. When I can see my reflection in it, that's pretty fine. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that nice? This sharpener, I mean, I just can't say any more good about it than I already have. It's a fabulous, fabulous tool. I read many postings after I did the original view on the knife forums about, oh, that's not good, doesn't do the right angle, blah, 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 typical forum speak. And that's why I can't, there's very few things in life that I could say that I really, really, really dislike. I don't know if I'd use the word hate. Hate is a strong word. I don't want to ever use that word, but I very much dislike forum and forum speak. Yeah, whatever you say, that always comes to mind because the proof is in the, well, it's in the pudding, the eating of the pudding. Look at that. You saw it before, right? You saw how damaged it was? Man, oh man, that is incredible. And of course, harnessing the power of the electron microscope, we can see a little different angle there, but man, oh man. Can you get any better than that? Well, if you can, I haven't seen it. Let's see how it cuts. Now, before we do this cut test, I want to remind you that this is a $30, $28 low-grade Fisker's axe. You saw the condition that it was in. Probably had maybe 15 minutes or so, maybe 20 minutes with filming. Let's see how sharp it is. You think that's sharp? That may be the sharpest axe I've ever done. If you'd like to see a video on the sharpening system or review, I'll put it right there to the left. You can click on that and go over there and watch that. Don't forget to drop a thumbs up if you enjoyed these videos, and we always appreciate the comments. And we'll see you guys on the next video.